In 1976, an English vaudevillian burlesque art rocker released his third album of music hall inspired hijinks. I am talking about Brian Protheroe. And from his 1976 chrysalis release, I You, the title track. Hear that just piano and bass. Yeah, hear the effect that the bass notes were having on the piano.
Me, I am a shallow man. I have no ambition. When I laugh, the world laughs with you.
When I laugh, the world laughs with you.
Me, I am a callow man. I have no tradition.
Me, I am a callow man. I have no tradition.
Of me, half and half of you too.
Half of me and half of you too.
I want to play the banjo in a rubber band.
I'm the one to play the banjo in a rubber band. The lyrics are not praying anywhere.
When I tell you, you plummet.
When I tell you, you plummet.
The world is not my oyster. The pearls got out of hand.
The world is not my oyster. The pearls got out of hand. Somewhat of a play on phraseology there.
Play a few bars and I'll hum it.
There are a few bars and I... light, just kind of harmony vocals and piano and a bit of cymbal.
IUE, do not agree. It's
IUE, do not agree.
irrefutable.
It's irrefutable.
We IU have different view. Indisputable.
We are you, have different view, indisputable. Really going like all kinetic, all like choppy, staccato, frantic, nervy.
I see no eye to eye. It's reprehensible.
Odd, like little melody right there. Da-na-na-na. I think I'm hearing a tritone.
Why we you say nothing new, indefensible. Look in the mirror.
Wow, this is just going all over the place now. Kind of getting sort of Queen-like, like sort of like Bohemian Rhapsody, like going through all different types of like kind of vaudevillian or like cabaret sections. It's like I think we've got A, B, C. It also sounds kind of like it's turning out to be like another through composed piece.
What do you see? I see you see me.
What is that? That's kind of like is that like a merengue or a...
Look again closer. Who can it be? You see you, still see me. You are under 30.
Hear that little percussion?
31.
You were under 30, I am 31.
30's better. One is fun.
30s, huh? One is fun.
You are also thrifty.
Hear that just jovial tone in his voice.
I'm almost free. Thrifty, shifty. Freeze me.
I remember when I first learned about Brian Protheroe in the mid-2000s, I was just thinking to myself, where is this album been my whole life? For a long time, I really wished I had heard this back, say, when I was like 21 and getting into deaf school. This would have been like one of the cornerstones of my 20s, I'm pretty sure. And would have been, and I would have been playing it quite a bit on my radio program back during the 90s.
Why we will never be, it's undeniable.
I love that just jerky, like dun, 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 1 2 3 1 2 3. Yeah, a few bars of 3 in there.
You wide, away or wide, so unreliable.
Not many people at this point in time doing such jerky staccato arrangements anywhere. I mean, a little bit ahead of the curve, by a few years, Like within 2 years, XTC and the Talking Heads would be giving us kind of that nervy, kinetic feel.
Eyes right, and Jews wrong. You the same as the sun.
Now we have kind of that a variation of that kind of like I don't know, that the section I heard earlier but with the kind of traditional dance rhythm, but it's slightly altered. It's more kind of
Days and nights, night school. Woo, woo, woo. I'm not Taylor. You're
hear that really refined guitar in the background. Kind of like refined but dirty. I mean it's really like muted, but it's got kind of. Now they're putting a synthesizer on it. Did you hear that little trebly synthesizer? Now getting more thick, with some like cymbals and such thrown in more.
touch, I touch. Touch is much as hearts can hope for.
I guess the lyrics are just kind of like a play on perspectives in a relation in the relation between two people. It's like taking like observations of like the other person and turning them on their head, and kind of it's just kind of like an exercise in reflexive phraseology.
Trust, I know you trust. Trust is just as difficult to go for.
Notice how many times he was taking the phrase of, the word trust like appeared like 3 times just in that single couplet, which indicates that he's taking a statement and kind of turning it on its head. Kind of like Rupert Holmes has done in a few lyrics. Like I'm thinking of In You I Trust comes to mind. Now finally, kind of like minor key, sort of coda section. Even though we've got 50 seconds to go, this track is far from over, probably in terms of its development or passage sequencing.
You are one person's the end. The end is the clue.
It when you hear how many ideas like he's cramming into this song, you kind of think, wow, some of these people. One of the great things about the 70s is that some artists took to putting like half an album's worth of ideas into a single song. Of course, the downside to it all is that they ended up kind of wearing out after a few albums, but at least they took us to places never heard or seen of since.
The clue is on as you.
Okay, this track we have bass by Brian Odgers, prolific session bassist who had played with Al Stewart, John McLaughlin, Michael Gibbs, Sweet Thursday, Sean Phillips, yes, and drums we have Michael Giles. That guy needs no introduction. Electric guitar, Alan Parker, yes, who had been in Blue Mink and a whole bunch of Rumpelstiltskin, yeah, prolific session guitarist, obviously, those being, Ugly Custard, yeah, those being like studio project type things, and a bunch of albums like on KPM Music and Music Du Wolf, so a lot of library music. Lyrics to this song by Martin Duncan, music by Brian Protheroe, and Protheroe himself plays piano, organ, percussion, synthesizer, and singing, of course. Let's see, Brian Protheroe became kind of he was an actor. I think he just did more theater after 1976. I saw a photo, an 80s era photo of him with some 1984 production with Kiki D, who also kind of became a little bit less active in the music scene for a time, like after her 1981 album. And let's hear another track from this album, Every Roman Knows. Looks like I got a visitor. You see him?
Rome is disappearing.
Kind of a major seventh chord in a major seventh piano chord in G. Yeah, duh. Da na 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 na.
Stream again, and I was none the wiser for the dream again. Help me get it back, don't look around or I'll attack you.
I love that vocal melody right there. The way he just kind of encircles that piano key change with such grace and elegance. Yeah, he has kind of like a debonair type of vocal delivery.
So gentle that you'll never hear the blows. So every Roman knows do you.
Oh, great, like wordless vocal. Yeah.
Lazy days are stealing up on me again. All the lucky living off the cream again.
And let's see, on this, we have him on piano and vocals, of course, and bass by Odgers once again. Drums this time by Simon Phillips. Yes.
Help me put it down, don't look around or I'll destroy you. Annoy you with my habits and my clothes. So every Roman knows do you.
I guess he's harmonizing with himself.
And it's wrong, and it's wrong when I'm satisfied. Wrong, and it's wrong standing on the side with the idle eye.
I love how it keeps on landing on major seventh chords. Bum, ba, F, E. Yeah, yeah.
Solitude is crawling on the street again.
And the let's see, the drum seems to be just kind of like a soft kick drum throughout, like kind of like 4 kicks per bar. Bump.
Sentimentally falling on my feet again. Help me play the game, don't break the chain or I'll detect you. Direct you to the door, that's how it goes.
I could see the Manhattan Transfer doing this track if they had known about it.
So everyone knows, do-do-do.
God, such a like stately, graceful, kind of elegant, like sophisticated jazz pop number. Totally, just I don't know, like a musical tradition that like extends back to like the 1950s or beforehand, and just timeless, really. And that fluid saxophone is by Stan Saltzman, who had played with Stan Getz, Memphis Slim, Julie Driscoll, Savoy Brown, Michael D. Albuquerque. I love the way that piano line kind of like floats over the underlying chord, that and just the harmonic nuance and color that it creates.
And it's wrong when I'm satisfied. Wrong, and it's wrong, standing on the side with the idle eye.
This song has so many different hooks to it. I mean, it's like once you become familiar with it, it's like you could hum that part right there, and it would be, and anyone else who knows it would instantly know what you're humming. You could, hum one of the piano lines. You could hum the that bridge where it gets all angular and his voice, kind of does that melody.
Rome is disappearing up the street again.
Rome is disappearing up the street again.
And I was none the wiser for the dream again.
And I was none the wiser for the dream again. Yeah, these lyrics would be worth transcribing. I know that they're not anywhere on the internet, but
help me get it back. Don't look around or I'll attack you.
and I love the way those like 50s harmonies back them up on that part, on that like vocal melody. Yeah, the kind of like, I don't know, the 50s kind of flavor that it adds.
The generation never heard a blow. So everyone knows.
So there's this guy, Archimedes, is it?
Everyone
He's knocked himself in his
knows.
bathroom. And what he done, he's got his hooter in his dirty room.
Everyone knows.
All of a sudden, there's a knock on the door. It's the wife. He's like, he says, Archie, he said, what are you doing in that bathroom?
And now we've got some kind of like music theater element in there. But this, in terms of style, this seems to be like incorporating elements of like pre-rock vocal pop, lounge jazz. I'm thinking like maybe like pre-rock vocal pop, like in the George Gershwin vein. 50s lounge vocal jazz and doo-wop. Yeah.
All this time,
Everyone knows.
he says, well,
Everyone
no,
knows.
it's not his wife.
Every Roman knows. Yeah, I'd really like to know more about what that song's about. And yeah, that would have probably added a very different element to my impressions. But for now, I could just marvel at the beauty of the composition, his voice, and the harmonic counterpoint between his vocal lines, his own harmonizing, and the just lovely, graceful, elegant, stylish, ritzy piano and light rhythmic component that was driving it, giving it that, stately air and grace and all, yeah. Every Roman Knows by Brian Protheroe, and before that, the quirky the alternately, well, you could say just graceful and swooning and nervy and kinetic through composed title track to the album, I You. Yes. His third and penultimate release came out in 1976 on Chrysalis. Yeah, he released 3 proper albums between 1974 and 1976, and then also in 1976 released an album of covers, I guess, for a soundtrack, yeah. And then I guess didn't record again for another 30 years or so. Yeah. Went in more focused on the acting part of the theater side of his interests. Anyway, for more Rubies and Sapphires from the catalog of Brian Protheroe, see the directory of albums by English B artists linked in the description below for Red Hot Tracks and Purples from the 3 main Protheroe albums, Pinball, Pickup, and IU, as well as other English B artists. And yeah, like and subscribe and follow me on social media, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the 2 tracks we just heard, the the graceful elegance and beauty of the music, the oftentimes unpredictable, whimsical, through composed nature of the of the formatting and arrangements, and the vocals, and most importantly, I guess, the lyrics. If you happen to know the lyrics, be familiar with them. Any insights or observations you can share on that front, yes, I would appreciate that. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-traveled tram maximalist, signing off.